go. All right. Hey, good morning, y'all, and welcome to the special Objects and Orbs podcast. Talking to some great people from the Appalachia Starseed Reunion, and that is August 1st through the 4th. And I'm Christy. I'm gonna, since I've talked to you the most, I'm gonna let you tell people about it and where it's at and how to get there and everything.
Sure. It's in Old Fort, North Carolina. And so it's on private property on a farm, a big farm. So we'll have a big field there for folks for camping and sky watching, which I know this group is really into. So it's going to be a
Yes.
prime opportunity for that. We're going to be doing that each night, Thursday through Sunday. But we'll have other things as well during the day, of course, speakers. And these two lovely women who are joining us are two of the speakers who are going to be on our channel panel, which is I'll let them tell you about what that is going to be. But August 1st to 4th in Old Fort, North Carolina, and all the details are there at AppalachiaStarseedReunion.com for all the speakers and other kind of optional activities we'll be doing, etc.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. And I guess Randy B, go for it.
Okay. Hi. I am going to be participating in this because I channel both the Arcturians and the Starseed Nation.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, and I've been channeling now for, 10 or 15 years. Always the Galactics have come to me. It started with Ashtar Command and then a group called the Federation of Councils. And now I often meet with an Arcturian being as well as this group called the Starseed Nation. And their messages are just lovely. They're about how we can support ourselves best during this crazy time, during this time when so much is coming at us, so much is changing, information is becoming more apparent for everybody, and people are really trying to figure out how to stay centered and grounded during all of this. And so they give some really beautiful advice and beautiful, training as to how we can stay really in our power.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's interesting that you said Arcturian, because actually about a mile from me, we actually have a Native American style, I'm going to say style stone circle that it's not that old, but it was designed by a gentleman who described himself as an Arcturian to me. So yeah, so that is that's very special. That makes it even more special to me when I'm able to hear these things and really about everything in this field. It all comes together and it all makes sense. And I just recently, just the other night, had what was last night? Somebody had asked me about the intentions, and so Randy B, you hit it right on the head for me. Thank you so much. And Randy J, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'm also a channel, and I've been channeling for about 10 years as well. And the first guides that came to me were also galactic guides. So it was interesting, just the diversity, and I've been learning a little bit more about the diversity in the galactic, we'll say, helping spirits.
Right, you're right.
And just how galactic we all are,
yes,
in our DNA
that's
and
right.
our makeup and our heritage. So I'm super excited about that aspect of the Starseed Festival in general. I channel basically an expanded version of me, and our name, we use the plural, so our name is Vera. And Vera is really a voice for the new earth. I do feel that this is my first and only life here. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but so being a starseed in that regard and sort of just dropping to this planet, it does feel like the timing is now. The timing is important for a lot of us, for a lot of us who are drawn to this, who are drawn to change. One of the things that we tend to channel about is rapid evolution. So like Randy B said, there's so many energies, both that are challenging us, and with great challenge comes great growth. Yes. So we like to focus a lot on integrating that growth, different things we can use I'm also a yoga instructor. So we tend to talk a lot about the subtle body or the energy body and different ways that we can take what can be really profound in the energetic levels
Yes.
and really ground into the body. So
Awesome.
super excited. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so I do have a few questions. Actually, I already have guests. So I have my friend Richard Hoffley from Canada, and he is an abductee. And then Sandros, I always try to make sure I get his name right, Sayacha from Belgium, and then Grandma Cherry, so who I'm not familiar with yet. So good morning to y'all. Thank you so much. And if y'all have any questions, by all means, please ask. Okay, so I'm going to ask some very simple questions because I've just started a local group here in Georgia for what we call the tri-state area, which is going to be Georgia and North Carolina, Tennessee, most of the counties around this area, people who can actually get close and meet and that type of thing. And we even had a sky watching party just the other night. It was very successful. And but my question is that how do you know you're a starseed, and how did you become a starseed? And I guess Christy, I guess I could start with you first.
Sure. I think that's such a great question. Of course, it's one that I ask all the time because, we are the Starseed Reunion. So everyone has different things. I think for me, it was when I first started watching some insider testimony, some folks talking about secret space program and this kind of thing. It just kind of hit me like in a certain kind of way. And then it opened up a time in my life where I started having these very intense dreams that involved extraterrestrials, flying to other planets, flying to space, and dreams that seemed real and different things like this. So I knew something was there, but I didn't really know what. And even this started probably in 2017. And even to this day, it's still like not totally confident. It's just something I sense or I know, but something that kind of hit me recently, just a few weeks ago. I was reading a book called Not From Here, Being ET in America.
Right.
And just the first few chapters, like I was just crying. It was like this, maybe this is really real. Maybe this is really real, you know? And so that, and I've just always been just really excited by everything related to space and just knowing, I know there's more that we don't know. I know that they're keeping stuff from us. They are keeping stuff from us. Yes. And so I want to know what that is. And I think we all kind of know what that is, but I want to help normalize that and bring that more to the mainstream and help people. And that's why I love Randy and Randy so much when I heard you guys talking, because that's exactly what we want here. And I think of it kind of like a safe landing place for star seeds to get those skills, to learn how to assimilate. I'm getting chills right now to recognize it is real. You're not crazy. These kinds of things. So I think being a starseed is just having some experience, knowledge, awareness from your lives from other planets. And maybe we all are starseeds. Maybe we all are, but just some of us are starting to recognize it.
Right. Thank you. Oh, and then Randy B., tell me about your story.
Sure. I started doing Reiki back in 1997, and it was really shortly after probably my third Reiki attunement, when things were really opening up. I could see healers at the table with me who were definitely not human beings. I could see really clearly what they looked like, and I was never afraid. It was more like, oh, curious, interesting, look who showed up. And I could tell too that they were actually healing. They were really helping people and even showing me how to work through people's energy bodies. And then during a healing that I was receiving once from somebody else, a group came in. I could see them in my mind's eye very clearly, very not human. And I felt like I was, with family, probably for the first time in my life. I felt so at home and so at peace with these beings.
Wow.
And I still don't even know quite exactly. I can assume like a Lyrian, but what I've come to realize, and what Randy Janelle had said too, is that our DNA, everyone's DNA, is made up of like 23 different alien species. And so when we think of like the United States as a melting pot, we can also think of human beings as melting pots as well. Right. And we just are, you know, these bodies are home to all sorts of genetic information from extraterrestrial, and that is just who we are.
Yes. Well, thank you. And yeah, you brought up a point that I was just telling Christy about, that yesterday I created a video on how to summon the craft, and people ask me, oh, or who is they, or who is them? I said, well, here's the thing, is let's say that you stop somebody on the freeway, a major freeway, I-40, I-95, I-5 in California, I-80, any of those big freeways that go across the United States. Stop any 5 cars. They could be from anywhere. They could be from California. They could be from, they could be like my friend Rich from Canada. They could be from Britain. They could be from anywhere. But they are different nationalities, like you say. And so that puts it into perspective. And when recently I've been recording the sun with my phones and capturing all kinds of just craft that just flow through the sun. It's just amazing to me, but it looks like a super highway. And, you know, and so it's true. So there's so many, it's just like that, you know? And so that totally makes sense to me. And that you brought up a great point. Thank you, Randy B. Randy J. Tell me a little bit. Got you drinking there. It's all right.
Hydration, everybody. Drink your water.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Entity. Yes, thank you.
So, yeah, I concur with what everybody has said. And for me too, being a starseed is also, which I agree, I feel like so many of us are starseeds, you know, and it's a matter of whether you personally resonate with feeling your citizenship, not just as a national or international or even global, but whether you resonate with being a citizen of this galaxy or even a citizen of the universe, you know. So for me, that's a sign that you may be a starseed, or that you resonate with your heritage from the stars, which to me, it just expands consciousness. So, I love that you were mentioning about the highway of craft, because for me, it's also about really navigating different dimensions, different densities. So that has really helped me to open up with my gifts, as Randy B was saying, you know, what we can start to see, or even if we're not a visually perceptive person, just start to feel or start to tune into through navigating a multidimensional experience. So that to me opens up, as we start to claim that ability that many of us do already have, latent perhaps, but inside. And that's what I love about this festival too, that it's a range of celebrating a lot of different energy and healing arts, which also contributes to that. How do we use our galactic heritage or universal heritage? And to me, that super highway is there. And in fact, those beings are there, as Randy B said. It's whether or not we have the ability, the courage, the know-how, if we're feeling intrepid enough to stretch our consciousness, to be able to stretch through many dimensions in which these beings already are. So in other words, I've got a room full of beings right here, right now, but am I in the same dimension as they are, and vice versa?
Right. That's you know, that totally makes sense. And it's also the same with paranormal too. I find is that you know, in my room at any time, I can do a you know, a spirit investigation, and they start, you know, coming up, and they start coming on, and even I'm sure I know what I'm going to get from this. But do y'all ever use dowsing rods? Yes, 1.
Well,
2.
ish. I mean, not specifically a dowsing rod, but yes, I douse all the time in various ways. Yes.
Okay, in various ways. And even if you're doing a reading, even if you're doing a reading of some kind too, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And healing, and throughout the whole healing and everything. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm kind of new. I am kind of new to this. There is a question. Do you believe you are star seeds by genetics, breeding, or entity occupying the physical body?
Oh.
And who would want to answer that? Raise your hand.
I mean, I can answer that. I know I'm not, there's nothing occupying my physical body, and that it's more of a genetic thing for me. And for me, like Randy Janelle, I got to tell you, I love the way you speak about this, because absolutely everything you said is 100%. And for me, I recognize that there are many different like nationalities of galactics who have information that they want to share, and that I've come here very open to receive that information in any way that they'd like to share it through me. And so I feel that I'm a messenger, but I'm very plugged in to the community, so to speak. I also know, as Randy was saying, there's so many opportunities to find that out about yourself, but there are many people on this planet who aren't here to do that right now. They're just here to live out karma, live out their lives, have more 3D experiences, and those are all well and good as well. And I think that we obviously are reaching audiences of people who want to explore this much more deeply. But yes, I don't feel possessed in any way, shape, or form. So, but I appreciate it.
All right. And then Randy J.
Yeah. Again, agree. When am I going to say no? I don't agree. Like that hasn't happened with my Appalachian Starseed family.
It really doesn't. Yeah, it really doesn't.
A lot of ditto.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm not even. I'm just new at this. So hey,
yeah.
So
I will add though that it can be all kinds of things. I have met some people who consider themselves walk-ins.
Yes.
And they don't necessarily. Some of them say, okay, I'm a Syrian walk-in, I'm this kind of walk-in, and sometimes they know right away. Sometimes it comes after a time. And actually, it was recently that somebody asked me, well, if this is your first life, do you consider yourself a walk-in? I said, well, I'm a born-in.
Okay.
I came
yes.
to the planet very intentionally. And so I do feel, again, that it could be in your DNA. And I do feel it's possible to be a starseed and have had many human lives. That in a way, it's just recognizing that the human being is also a galactic or universal being. And so, and I get it. I get that from a soul that is as massive as we are, to want to have such a limited experience by just being human. And as Randy said, just being in the third dimension, that is a wild ride of limitation and contrast. And so not to dismiss that at all. And so in a way you could be, or you are probably 12th dimensional, yada, yada, yada. And you chose to forget very, very intentionally. And you may never remember this whole life. But again, as Randy's saying, if you're listening to us, you're probably going, yes, I do. I've come to the place where I do want to remember. So, I believe we all are starseeds.
Yes, and I've got a good friend of mine. Her name is Gloria Hass. I don't know if you've ever heard that name or not, but she's an author, and she's also in a documentary with me called Encounters: The Complete Interviews. And she basically told me that she's a walk-in, and that and a walk-in from the way that she described it was a walk-in to a stillborn. Have you heard of that? Okay.
That's fascinating. That's amazing.
Okay. Yeah. I walk into a stillborn. So, and then, so she's lived her life as a gray and part human as well. And so then, the interesting thing is that with that, with everything y'all are saying, totally makes sense. And it's all pretty straightforward, and it's easy to understand once you can open your mind to understand it. And then after you do, then it totally makes even more sense, if that makes sense. Right? That's kind of me, but yeah. And do you think, now I do have a question for you all, because I get this a lot. How does God come into this? And how does Jesus come into this? And religion and all of that. And my personal belief is that I know that God created everything, everything. I mean, everything for us to enjoy. And that's, that's what this is really all about. Any comments on that? Raise your hand. How do you feel about that?
I can go.
Go for it. Go for it. Randy. Hey, talk as much as you like. That's what I do.
Yeah. So agreed that, God, you use the word God, you use the word source, but I really resonate with this idea that we are fragments of source. So we're fragments of God. And so really, again, that idea of how does, and to me, source is a non-dual state. So how do we even have time? We don't have time. We don't have contrast. We don't have duality. We don't have the opposites if we're perpetually and eternally in forevermore bliss, which sounds amazing, right? It's like that's all where we want to get to, or at least when I grew up, that was my idea of heaven. And so what I really enjoy about spirituality is that I can be simultaneously both. I can be that non-dual God, divine being. It is me. There's no difference between me and source, God, all that is. And the part of me that swings from happy, sad, positive, negative, challenge, growth, or expansion, that is a version of divine expression as a human being. And yet it still gives me the playground, if you will. It gives me the total space to be adventurous. And again, to kind of forget that to come into a body and not be greeted and go, you are God, you are here on the playground. What are you going to do? My parents did their best, and we all do our best. But I do feel like that's changing, and these generations coming through now are being greeted that way. Because like you say, as we understand and as we remember, it makes more sense, and we can pass that on.
Right, it does. And that totally makes sense. My friend Rich has a comment. I believe I'm a starseed because of abductions. And like I said, he was abducted quite a few times. That included sperm extraction and the feeling that I'm meant to share my experiences to the masses, regardless of bullying, etc. And so thanks, Rich, for that comment. How does that apply to y'all if just let's just say you walk down to the local store and hey, I hang out at Dollar General and record UFOs and show them to people, and hey, look, there's one and there's one. And so how would you describe yourself to the person who just works down at the local store and say, hey, by the way, I'm a starseed? That's kind of hard to do, right? Or are you saying yes or no? Go for it. If you got a comment, just raise your hand. Randy, go for it. Randy J or Randy B, go for it. Randy B.
I mean, it's not something that I actually bring up too much. I locally and online channel, and I put out messages, on YouTube, and I meet with groups here in the Asheville area. So I'm doing my work and I'm spreading the word, but I feel so normalized about it. Like what Christy was saying, I just feel so normal about it that it's not something that I have to go out of my way to identify. It's just who I am and what I do. And it, gives me a perspective on the world, maybe that some other people don't have. But regardless, that's, I live within that perspective and feel really clear about it.
I totally get that. And a lot of people that I've just been meeting recently, especially here local, that we'll just get to meet first, and then we'll talk about that, and then people will ask, and I'll ask them, have you ever heard what a starseed is? And many will say yes. And that's a good thing. So it's just one of those things that it's becoming more and more, I'm not going to say mainstream, but it's becoming more and more to where people know what they are, what you are, and what we are. And it's one of those things where when you're ready to ask, I think you will. Okay, I see y'all shaking your head. Go for it, Christy.
Yeah, and I think that old program that was instilled in our society, where they really crucified and ridiculed anyone that even mentioned anything about anything outer space, as dissipating. As the first waivers were out there, kind of normalizing it 30, 40 years ago. We're riding on their tails, and it's becoming easier. So I guess the way I do it, like Randy, I don't really just go out and advertise it and bring it up like you do, Les. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Maybe I'll start doing that. Hey, what do you think about starseeds? But I do wait until, the opportunity arises. And then I say it in very nonchalant, normalizing ways. Of course, of course we know the extraterrestrials have been visiting here forever, as if it's just common knowledge, and then see how the person responds. I'm surprisingly more and more often hearing like, oh yeah, well, we all know that now. So
Okay, well, I've got another comment. I'll let y'all talk about this. I guess Christy, I'll let you talk about this. Yes, and how to get there and all that and all of that again.
Sure. It's in Old Fort, North Carolina. The website is Appalachia Starseed Reunion, so you can get all the information about the schedule and the speakers. We'll be camping. There's probably several other speakers and different workshops, and it's August 1 to 4. I was just reading the question while I was talking. August 1 to 4 will probably be, it's our 4th year doing it, so I imagine we'll probably have about, you never know, we've had between 75 to 150 people. The first year was the best. It was during the year of COVID in 2020, so it always cracks me up. But at any rate, so we'll probably have about 75 to 100 people. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Part of the theme is just how do we raise our vibration? So I think that in order to access and see some of these things that we want to see and have access to, it has a lot to do with how we care for our body temple, our avatar, and raise our vibration. And I think a lot of the ways some of the ways that we can do that is through singing together, dancing together, playing together, and just normalizing things for each other, letting each other feel safe and relaxed. And so that'll be the theme. And then each night, followed up with the sky watches with Les. Hopefully you'll be there.
Yeah. We're trying.
Yeah. And a few other people. There'll be breath work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have a guy named Kyle Espenshade who's developed some different offerings, and he's calling it Jedi training. So kind of giving us some techniques to learn to develop our intuitive abilities and these kinds of things. So in general,
it sounds wonderful, and my only thing is that we have one car and I've got 2 people working. So it's like, oh no, but so we're gonna do what we can. But now, have y'all ever heard of a Delphi University here in McKaysville, Georgia? Ooh, okay. Delphi Spiritual Studies University. Yes, it's just a little teeny out of the way place that nobody ever talks about. But yes, it's called Delphi University. It's all about Delphi spiritual studies. And let me see if I can pull this up here. It's because you were talking about, or Delphi Institute, you were talking about raising your conscious. And I was also, here we go. Just we'll share this here. I was talking about how do I raise my frequencies? How do I do that? Now let me share my screen and let's see. Okay, window. Oops, let's do this. Okay, just one moment here. Like I said, I fly by the spirit, so this is kind of what I do. All right, yeah. We'll just do the entire screen. Okay, let's just do that. Share. Okay. And okay, so this is Delphi University, and they have Church of Wisdom. Let's see, inner sanctuary training. You're talking about readings at temples, are the readings and stuff. They have degrees in like internal nature of our consciousness, a powerful interpersonal professional study, Rohan, spiritual psychology, Untra, spiritual art, a little bit of everything, holistic healing. And I want to say the sad part about it is nobody knows about it here.
Hmm.
It's So and it looks like we must have lost Randy B there. Hopefully she can drop back. But now somebody else brought in another question, Grandma Sherry from Texas. Okay. Or Sherry. Now she's living in the Monroe Institute. I was just going to talk about this because it goes together. How is that? Binaural Beats. Yes. All right. Okay.
Yes. Kyle actually has developed a lot of soundtracks with it to do with his breath work based on the binaural beats and the gateway experience. So he's incorporated a lot of that, kind of developed it and made it his own.
I had to have been meant for this because I discovered it myself back in the mid 90s, early 90s. I started searching binaural beats and yes, and it totally works. And anybody can do it. There's actually a wonderful app that I love where you can kind of create your own. It's called Tone Generator Pro, and you can actually go in there and let me pull this up here. Tone Generator. Okay. And Tone Generator, I'll show you kind of what the app looks like. If it's right up there, Tone Generator. And then you get this on Google Play, and then multi-tone generator, and you just go in there like that, and you can actually set up, see, front left, front right. You can pick your own frequencies, and you can create your own personal frequencies that work with you. And if you haven't tried it yet, I'm telling this to those who haven't, if you haven't tried it yet, be prepared to either see stuff or for it to just knock you out and you're going to go to sleep and just relax, because that's what it is. But here's something that anybody can do. This is something that anybody can do, whether you're a believer or not. This happens to everybody. You pop it in, and now if you're new to binaural beats, I will tell you about this. Is that I'm actually a sound engineer. I've got a degree in sound. So don't want to do that one. So you have one tone in one ear, and then you have a slightly different tone in another ear. And when you hear it, you like doo, and then doo, like that. It's got just a little bit of a difference, and that difference is what causes you to causes your head to swirl, which it does. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Spectrum. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. Doo, 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 doo. So if you put those together, it's the difference beat. That it's the part that you cannot hear, because the human hearing can only hear between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, and it's the lower frequencies that are healing frequencies, which you all should know probably about that. Schumann response as well, and each one of these has their own healing properties. And you can go in and you can create all kinds of different stuff, go from different levels in it, where you start off at one frequency, go to another frequency, all of that. And I'm very, very ADHD, so I mean, I could do it, but my mind's thinking, oh, UFOs instead. So even with my mom, I could take this to my mom's house right now and say, Mom, put this in your ear. All right, all right, put this in your ear. Say, Mom, do you feel something going like, oh. Yeah, and it's like, it feels kind of good. Yeah, it really does. It's good for healing. It's good for pain. It's good for sleep. It's good for many different things, and it works immediately. There's really not much you have to do. You're just right there, and you do it. I can even create them on the computer very, very quickly. I've done that before too for people. and just email them out an MP3. Say, here you go. This is your own personal one. We just created it. And so, it's a very unique kind of thing, but it helps you to open up. But when we were talking about resonating higher frequencies, that totally makes sense, because I would like to be able to bring mine up more. And who knows, maybe mine are higher just because of what I do. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of new at this. I went from learning about binaural beats, and then 3 years ago I discovered my first UFO. So, and then now I'm learning about star seeds, and I'm learning about all kinds of different things. And so, and but I, like Randy B, I've always been interested in the spiritual things as well, like Reiki, and I just did a convention in Clayton, Georgia, a couple of weeks ago, and learned about, I guess it's Tai Chi, where you have a little pendulum, and yeah. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, And wow, all right, and yeah. So all of this is very interesting to me, and it's very when for somebody just off the street, um, when they see this stuff happen, they're like, oh wow, I never knew. Right. Well, that's why we're here. It's because of I never knew. It's becoming, and this was for me. I grew up. Well, I grew up in California and overseas and stuff, but mostly like I lived near San Francisco when I was a kid. There was a ton of spirituality going on there back then, but I knew a lot of that stuff, and people talk about that stuff, but I didn't know what it was, and I was like, okay, I didn't think it was off the wall or anything like that. It was just something I just didn't quite understand, but I want to learn more about it. And Randy, kind of what you're talking about there too, about what you do, and especially at the tables and all of that is very interesting. And when people see it, and then Randy J, when you talk about, yes, God is all part of this, and that way everybody can put their belief systems all in, and put it all together and make it be cohesive. And when people hear that and understand that, then that really helps. But for me to even be able to talk to y'all, it makes it better, because it verifies everything. And that's the thing that I like to do. I like to talk to my friend in Canada. I like to talk to Rich and say, hey, Rich, tell me about your experiences being abducted. And I talk to other abductees and hear the same things and put things together. I have a mental file where I just, if I learn something, I'll put that in the file and put that in the file. Then when they all start to come together, then I make little chapters, and that's something that is really cool to do. But I really I don't want to keep y'all too long, but I really appreciate y'all so much for coming on, and we're really excited about this event, and just getting the information out there. And maybe there's other people out there too who have just kind of wondered about it, and you've really brought it into light. Okay. Right. Yeah, of course, light. And so thank you very much. Christy, did you have anything you wanted to say before we wrap up here in a little bit?
Well, I just wanted to thank you and Randy and everybody out there, just even talking about their stories. And it takes a lot of bravery to put yourself out in that way. It still does. So thank you guys for doing that, and for Les for having us on the show, and for your audience for watching and sharing their stories and asking their questions and being curious and open-minded. And yeah, other than that, I would just say keep looking at the skies, keep asking questions, what's up there, and here's the most important question, I think, when it comes to thinking about exploring space. How did they get there? Wasn't gas, wasn't rocket ships.
Right.
It was something else. And I think that's one of the big reasons that they don't like us talking about these things, because that's the next logical question. So keep that on your minds as well. And other than that, message me, find me on Facebook or on our website. You can message me directly with any questions or anything like that.
And go ahead and I'm going to have you give the website again and the dates and everything just one more time.
Oh, sure. Thank you. It's Appalachia Starseed Reunion.com. It's August 1 to 4 in Old Fort, North Carolina, Thursday to Sunday. And it's going to be super fun.
Thank you. Randy B., any closing comments?
No, I really like the way you brought up having to kind of, figure out spirituality, religion, your belief in God with all of this, and how to make it all one. And of course, again, I agree with Randy Janelle that, to understand that we're all under the same umbrella, that we're not looking anymore at God from the perspective of he's only here for Earth. God is the consciousness of the entire universe, and that is the umbrella in which we all fall under. And we're talking about other conscious beings.
Yes.
And we're talking about, being under the umbrella of love with all these beings.
Right.
And feeling so honored that they'd like to help us along.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Randy J.
Again, ditto.
Right.
And I will add too, this has happened to me. I tended to be more maybe sky and future based, let's say, as a younger person. And what has really helped me to thrive has been grounding into Mama Earth as well, to really the conscious beings. We're excited about meeting aliens, and yet my plants here are real conscious beings.
Yes, they are.
So I would also add that there's so much that we have access to right here, that the beings that we live with on a daily basis. Just watering a plant can be a sacred act. That plant gives back so much to us. So even if you feel like you're in a busy city environment or something like that, just paying attention to what is already thriving as our home, as where we have all chosen, in my belief, we've all chosen to be here. We're not other planets right now. We're in human bodies. So, and then do you mind if I plug something I have coming up?
No, go for it. Yes, go for it.
So on that regard, I do a lot of shamanic work as well. To me, shamanism is what we're all interested in. It is just traversing many worlds, many dimensions. The shaman is someone who's comfortable, who has it so normalized that we walk around and we just see and feel and expand our world into these other dimensions, into something that's more perceptive rather than physical. And so I've got a shamanic retreat coming up in September. It's in Terra Nova. It's only about an hour from Asheville, so also in your tri-state area. And it's all 4 weekends in September, so it's going to be an immersion. We're going to do shamanic stuff. We're going to do a lot of these metaphysical quantum, working with different timelines, working with quantum mechanics.
Love quantum mechanics. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know anything about physics. I never went to physics in high school or any school. But one day I decided to watch Einstein's Quantum Riddle on PBS, and I learned quantum mechanics and quantum physics literally within 20 minutes, just like that. It's easy once you it's very simple. It starts off, and you hit it on the head, and I love that part because it all makes sense. So it was one of those things again where I was like meant to learn it. So, So I'm just going to say, probably I'm meant to know these things. And people say, why me? Well, why not you? Why do these things happen to me? Well, why not? Right? I tell people, pray about it. Why does this bad stuff always happen? Well, why doesn't good stuff happen? Well, once you flip the magnetic, right? And magnets. I love magnets. So it's all right there. So you definitely hit it on the head. Well, thank you all so much for joining, and we just really loved it. And Randy, when you talk about the plants, definitely my wife we talk to our plants. We love our plants, and we bring them back to life. There's times where my wife said, I thought it was going to be dead. No, it'll come back. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much, and we will see you there.
Yeah. Thank you, Les. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.